All right, so let's go over today's trade recap. I took one loss on RTY, just a long, and then I took a one win on silver. So we'll go over yeah, just like indices and like metals real quick. My bias for today. So sorry for my voices like this. I'm a little bit sick. It's fine. I'm not gonna go over oils really. It's really not much to like for me. I just honestly, I mean, this reverse was pretty clean, but I was already in in the trade, so I would just really completely miss those. So yeah, so stuff from indices here, very obvious for me. Yeah, we can definitely trade back into range today. Now, ideally, we hit the like some sort of low before doing that, which is a fair swing. Usually, fair swings are used for retracement. So, I can't really show you, but as you can see, we already hit them like on ES. Very, very good. So it makes sense that we expand higher, right? But on RTY with SMT, at the low of the day. So the only thing is like day opens high, right? With 2-stage crack at low of the day, which is strength switch as well. This is like extremely good. They expand away. So what I took here is honestly it's a lower probability trade for sure. But I would take it. I would take it every single time probably. So it's the CSD on the 15 minute, and ideally take the 5 minute, which I'm gonna go over. Wait, I better use this. Ideally take this 5 minute, but so we get. I can't really show both of this at both of them at the same time. So we have a gap here. Get SMT fill with this gap like this, and we see as the even this 30 minute is like it just looks so V-shaped. I just took the 50 minute. So what's the problem here? We're very overextended. I mean, I'll go over the reasoning why I took this trade, but well, this is the 30 minute low. Either way, so we're very overextended. The main issue here is that like we don't have a 4-hour swing point. Like this right here, it's a new hourly swing. So I'm fine with that. And I'm just assuming we should go for these. So this is an hourly swing point, and it's a 4-hour gap on the R assets. Right here. It's this gap right here. Right. So what I'm expecting here, I don't want to see the driver do this and then deliver these highs. Because we're so close. You see how whenever it's I don't know, it's like whenever it's such a good draw on liquidity, I kind of trade a little bit more discretionary here. So yeah, like I just took this CSD here. And again, ideally, not this one. That's not CSD. This CSD. Okay, I gotta get used to really to use this. Like, get down these chart colors, man. I mean, they're fine. But yeah. So ideally, you enter this CSD. As soon as we put the SMT fill, we V-shape. So ideally, you enter this. I actually don't know if this plays to R. I think it probably does. Yeah, it does. Of course, ideally, you go here, TP here, but like if I was in the share with DP there, and like I'll go break in here. Yeah, once we get this, we can go break in right. We'll go over why I also didn't trail. I initially did trail, but yeah, then I just put it back into my validation. So here, my trade idea was like around this gap. Well, initially I had it so that it was 2R. Yeah, it was something like this. So where my entry is like around here, really like that's what it matters much. In this gap. And yeah, like honestly here, as soon as you expand away, I could have probably no, this is not the 15-minute close though. So this is what I was looking before market open, right before, but this is not the close. I'll go over the close in a second. And so I am seeing just lower time frame, seek and destroy conditions, right? Where you take out the highs, take out the lows, right? Like this. And look at YM at this time, right? This is the close. You see how close it is to this high? I'm assuming we're probably like this is bringing like the lagging asset, which it is here. And so I traded RTY here because the draw is better for me. I don't really care about this. like ideally trade this because like yeah, it's leading asset, right? But like I am trading the asset with a better draw liquidity most of the time, as long as it's a true continuation, which with one stage crack, that's all I need, really. Yeah. So I trade this, and here I initially trade my stop right here because we get this CSD. But then I'm like, I see this before open. Let's see. This is the keynote. Yeah, I see this before open. I'm like, okay. Look at YM swell. So I mean, it's literally a PSP candle, right? I'm seeing YM expand higher. I'm like, okay, YM should get to this high. So what is like RTY likely to do if we're gonna get to this high? RTY could just manipulate this low. So this is not really protected because of like this decoupling we currently have. So I just put my stop back here. What I'm assuming is that RTY probably wants to manipulate this low before potentially manipulate this low before hitting these objectives. So it's a little bit discretionary here. I could definitely trail, and it's just hindsight. And so like this is my true validation point, right? Again, kind of seek and destroy it, which is a continuation signature. Even though it's a lower time frame, again, I kind of see it like that. But of course I was wrong here, so I just get stopped out or for a loss here. Again, to me, there's logic behind why I didn't trail, and it makes sense. Even though I initially did, I just then came back on it because I would really like this strong liquidity. Even though we're overextended, like it's very simple. Like for this type of day, if we're gonna go hit these highs, it has to happen at the driver, right? Once we get this signature here, the driver has to hit these highs pretty much if we're gonna hit them. So this loss comes down to me being wrong about the drawn liquidity for today, and so it just resulted in a loss there. As you can see, like I was definitely was like if WAM did hit these highs prior to RTY, I was gonna go break even, of course, or just close it if it was a loss, because like we're reporting a high time from SMT. We just didn't do that, so yeah. Really, like just like the only thing that I could have done better is, which I wasn't like, it's not, I think I was on the charts. I was just, yeah, it's like too early. I literally just like at this like moment in time, I literally just like logged in on TradingView, so so I couldn't really caught this. So that's fine, right? I do take 50-minute CSDs here, especially prior to driver, and if it's like 8, like prior to 9 even, which this was prior to 9, I did take 15 minutes CSD, and it's totally fine. I don't really care about wick size, like, or I mean not wick size. I don't care about stop loss size. So yeah, very obviously here, I was just wrong about the drawn liquidity. Now this is a very insane reversal, if I gotta be honest. But it's not expecting this. So then for indices, right, very obvious trade that I did not take because I was already up for the day. We'll go over silver trade in a second here. Very obvious, right? SMT fill with this 4-hour gap. Advanced premium discount, right? This asset, what does it do? Actually, reverse. So we're assuming here that RTY is retracing most likely than not. So you could probably potentially TP here. I think that's a pretty smart decision overall. Even though these are close proximity failure swings, we could definitely just reverse off of this because this house is retracing, right? This is really not like yeah, just retracing to then probably continue lower. So you can see we just like hit daily open, right, as a key level potentially. Also we're inside the new day opening gap, you see right here. Also that, and this asset is in premium, right? So we get double stage SMT, very clean, and then we go lower time for signature. As soon as we put the SMT here, clean V shape, right? That's like what you want to see. That's where you enter market or wherever not. Like, I guess the only thing is like, yeah, if you enter market, you get to wherever this high. So you can't really TP here unless you get a little bit better feel. But yeah. Also, like, what am I looking at? Once we do put this SMT, I also personally require RTY to CSD. Once it does, right, this is a very good trade. It just ended up being a break even. I would say like the logic behind perhaps wanting to DP here because this asset is most likely retracing. At this point, right, once we expand this much into the AM session, we're probably not gonna reshape. It happens very rarely here, especially because like overall this is counter trend, right? We are in a bearish trend, so Monday here, it's like counter trend, right? To where if we expand, we're probably not gonna V-shape, like just for Monday to print like bullish day, probably not gonna happen. But this makes sense, right? And yeah, I mean, there's shorts here, but yeah, I was not on the charts, so I did not even look at that. So let's go for gold silver here. Very simple. Which I mean, honestly, my final draw did not even get hit. So we have SMT with this high on the gold triad. So I didn't trade gold because we really don't get any strength switch to potentially break the SMT. But what do we have on like silver? Silver, none of these assets, I'm pretty sure. No, my bad. No, these assets did hit this high. Wait, do I not have drawings? I do not have drawings on these. Damn. Yeah, so what I was playing is like SMT break with this swing, I believe. Yep, there is. So I was playing SMT break with this. So let's just look at silver. So you can tell silver is the weaker asset compared to gold, right? Gold is like it was already way past previous high at this point, and it's closer to this weekly imbalance right here. All right. Oh, where's that? So it's closer to this weekly imbalance. So once we print a reversal candle, all right, we fill this 4-hour gap. You see also like how this gap is larger, and then we get a 2-stage. Actually, I think it's 3-stage to be fair. So it's like a little bit weird because technically the SMT fill happens on this candle, just on this. So the SMT fill will be like this. It's kind of mad, but I'll still consider this valid. For me, that's totally fine. See, like we hit this gap. This candle's PSP. We also have in the gold triad, we have SMT fill, right here at the same time. Now it does not print PSP, so it's a 1-stage, but it's a continuation for 4 hours. So, and it's 2-stage is silver, right? So once I see this, I'm like, okay, silver can definitely trade into these highs, right? Because these are fair swings. We hit high of the day. The high of the day causes a retracement. That's why I'm looking at it. Like I'm looking at it this way. Even though we print a gap, ideally retracement don't print gaps. But if I go to the hourly, right, look at this, it's not a gap, right? Since we V-shape right away, I'm seeing this more as like a retracement. Again, we're gonna have 30-minute gaps because like it happens pretty fast. But I'm just assuming, right? This is strength switch, so that silver can trade up. Also, this has the reverses to potentially trade higher, and I ideally break this SMT with the other gold, triad, right? Because we already hit this high. So what ended up happening is, unfortunately, it's not strength switch. That's the problem. I think that's why this asset didn't deliver. But I wouldn't trade this asset out here, right? So yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. So we don't have SMT fill within the triad, I believe, the silver triad, but it's with gold. So that's just what I'm looking at. Right, so we do have SMT here with this high, but again, I'm just assuming silver shouldn't really reverse off of this SMT. Oh my bad. Well, this is not really SMT, let's see. Off of this SMT, because these are close proximity, I'm more so leaning bullish towards how the daily open. It opens, expand, forever, right? This is more so like delayed protraction. Yeah, honestly, not the best framework, not the cleanest. It's probably why I didn't deliver. Yeah, it's probably why, but you can see in the continuation lower, I just see this more so as a retracement. You can see there's no crack here. There's like no crack in correlation, which is like no gaps, right? It's just this gap that I end up holding. So yeah. But let's go over lower time frame. So I am trading here, and technically the hourly does support expansion. The hourly candle I'm trading support expansion on both assets. But one of them waiting around is like 1030, right? Like gold is very close to this low. It could just hit this. Now again, unfortunately, don't have a 2-stage on gold. Which again, it's not so this trade wasn't super like high probability. In the sense that gold is probably this is probably not sure reversal on gold. But it's fine for me. Take on silver. But yeah. So I waited for 1030 here because I wanted to see pretty much the hourly. So like when I wait for 1030 here, the hourly, the 4-hour, and the 90-minute candle are all aligned for expansion higher. So like that's the best thing that I can do. And other than that, we also have like lower time procedures, not the best, right? So I have to wait a little bit. So I'm waiting for gold to give me this CSD. I don't really care about this one. It's like this is just a fair swing CSD. Also, like it looks pretty gross. It takes a long time. So I'm just waiting for this one potentially on the 5-minute. But I think this run in 3 minutes. So where I mean, you do get it either way. It would have been pretty much the same. But so once we like this is literally 1030, right? So right here, 1030 opens, right? We do get this CSD here, right? But is gold aligned really? Not yet, right? We didn't get this one. So what do I wait? We form a gap, we trade into the gap, V-shape CSD on both of these assets. Now gold is really showing me that's reversing, right? Once we get this close, I'm like, okay, gold is really, it's just truly reversing, right? What does this look like on the lower time frame as well? Looks like a retracement and expansion away, right? So this is where I enter. So to get my risk right, I had to use like a body stop, which that's fine. And I had to get my risk, like my I mean had to get my the retest here. Here it is, and I close around 1.5 R. Even though this did move like 1.8, and eventually, by the way, so if I didn't close it here, I closed it because I was again this is like pretty high risk for my standards. I have a little bit higher, so I just closed it for what would have been 2R normally, which is around here. I actually got yeah. I mean on the main account I got 1.5, but I got a better fail on the other ones. Where it was 1.6, 1.7, something like that. So I'll just close it here. I was not trying to be greedy. I really didn't need the extra profits. I just needed to get out of this trade. Around 2R. I mean, honestly, at this time, assuming we're probably gonna hit 2R. But eventually here, even though this retested my entry, which again, if I didn't take this, you could probably just have your entry here at the gap, right? Very, very simple. Literally, this looks like a retracement. It fills your order, right? This is literally 11 open low first, I believe. Yeah, but so puts in a fair swing with no SMT fill in the gap, then a small retracement, and we expand away, right? So yeah, I mean, with my fill, this trade ended up like playing out almost 2.5R. So I would normally just close it 2R, but yeah. I could have probably done this. Again, I didn't need to do this, so I just decided to close it 1.5. But goes to show that it would have played out 2R at least. Honestly, this was looking pretty nice as well. I was very confident I was probably gonna hit this, but I guess we didn't really get continuation afterwards. Like, look at gold, right? Gold is like a deep retracement, and what does it do? We expand higher with a lot more speed than silver, just to catch up, right? Just like some sort of like lower time resistance. So you see how the size of this gap, like you see the size of this, right? See how in silver it's like this gap, very small, right? But yeah, I just ended up then playing out, which again, sometimes you're not gonna get like the full move, right? Even though I was right about the direction here, we just ended up reversing around EQ. Yep. But yeah, I mean that's it. I'll show executions here, right? So the rate this is a it's micro silver here. I think the execution is like that 70.845, right? So it's like yeah, it's like this. So the CSD is different. That's why I got like a different fill, and I close it here. But yeah, like that's like should be 1.5R. around 1.5. Again, this is the account with the worst fail, but yeah, it's a closed-in market. But yeah, the other one's a little bit better. Or doesn't really matter. So there's only this, and yeah, and technically this comes afterwards, but I was already done for the day, so it's really nothing. All right, so that's gonna be it. I'm not gonna go all tried really. Honestly, pretty clean. Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I didn't really trade it, so yeah.